Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Joe Gawalis, alongside my fantastic co-host, Chris Victor. Chris, Sundance Day 3, things are going fantastic, and I have to tell you, we have a phenomenal individual with us right now, Justin Hogan, first AD. For those of you that are outside the business, you are going to learn so much about the man, the position that propels productions forward. What you do is phenomenal. Thank you very much for being here, my friend.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. First time at Sundance.
Nice.
And it's just awesome. So thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. The reason you are at Sundance is about one of the most talked about movies right now, Thelma. The process, the film, the story, what this film is nothing less than short than phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about the film and how you got involved as a first AD in this process.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'll get a script and I'll read the script, and then if I like it and want to do it, then the interview process begins with the producers, directors. If it's a good fit, we go forward from there. And as I start my job, I'll break down the scripts, every scene and all the elements that go into it, whether it's character, props, special effects, stunts. And at the end of the day, I'll have the calendar and we'll say, hey, we got 25 days to make this movie. That's what it's allowed. Let's see that informed. So I'll take the calendar and put the scenes in order of our filming schedule for production, oftentimes deferring to locations up front, trying to keep story order and a nice flow for like cast. But then, of course, if somebody comes along that gets cast and look, we got to shoot them in this period of time, 5 consecutive days, and all of a sudden you start shifting the pieces around on the calendar. So that's a lot of my work in prep to get us ready for day one. And then on the day, I'll start off with a safety meeting like this. And so, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to start in the living room. We're going to pop outside and get that sunset shot at the nice golden hour. And we're going to finish in the living room for this quiet beat all night, true night. And that's our day. And then talk about any points of concern for the crew, safety-wise or otherwise. And then off we go.
For those of you that are out there that don't understand how filmmaking, the process works, or television, prep, pre-production, this is one of the most important phases of the entire production. You just don't show up and start shooting a movie, and this is where you come.
Correct, yeah. So for this one, we had a 25-day shoot, and I had 20-plus days of prep.
Sure, yes.
So in that time, it's the script breakdown, it's multiple production meetings to make sure, well, the director said, this happens. Well, what exactly happens? Oh, we're gonna shoot a gun with a special effect.
Yes.
And we're gonna blow up a vase in the background of this scene. Okay, well, with the vase, how many vases do we have? Special effects, what's our rigging gonna be? And talk about anything and everything that is said in the script. So we know going into the day, we have a great safe plan to execute what we're gonna do. And so it's really a time too for departments to all answer those questions and get on the same page. So, because you get into the day and you got 12 hours where you're supposed to execute this, and I'm trying to keep the movie on time so the producers, aren't on my back.
Yep.
So you're doing all this work ahead of time with communication. So make sure you're ready and make sure you can go execute in a timely way. So and with that, when you get to do it right, everything goes smoothly and you execute. And it's like because there's so many variables. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Sometimes 60 to 150 people in a day that you're managing, and somebody's late, somebody's got a call, somebody's this, somebody forgot something. There's just a lot of things that can happen. So answering as many questions ahead of time as you can is great.
I love the safety first attitude. And I heard that there's a 93-year-old woman who does her own stunts. Is that really true?
It is really true. I was shocked and in awe of June throughout the entire process because she just showed up so consistently. I think the last week of the film, I heard her ask for a line, and it was the first time I'd heard her ask a line. Yeah. And she's in, I would say, almost every scene of the film. Just a few scenes with the family that she's not in. So I think she had 2 days off the entire shoot. So it was amazing. But also, we had a little walker, for her. We called it Johnny Walker just to put a little flair to it. But we'd always have her starting point if the blocking involved moving from the bedroom to the front door. We would have a starting point with a little chair and a landing point just to make sure she was always really taken care of. So we said, we're bubble wrapping June. We're just making sure she always... And then, of course, we start doing stunts, and she's like, I want to ride that scooter right now. And we're like, okay, well, let's make sure, so I'd always have a conversation with the stunt coordinator. We had stunt doubles.
Yep.
But she just wanted to do everything she could And of course, as filmmakers, as long as safety's intact, it's great to have the real thing. The coverage, you just get so much more because, stunt doubles limit your angles where you can see and how you can sell something. So it was really, I'm in awe of June.
And I heard that June came prepared. An actor comes prepared, makes your complex job a lot easier, correct?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we would line it up with our stand-ins. She'd step in. And I mean, within a couple of takes, we were like, well, we got it. We got it. We got it. We don't have to do anything. And it made the days so much more efficient, too, because we were trying to make sure we didn't overwork somebody of her age. She was 92, turned 93 now, 94 after the film. Yep. So, but she's an incredible talent, incredibly prepared. And I was just like, I can't believe what she's able to do and how talented she is. Yeah. At that point, I was just like blown away.
Are you kidding me? I mean, that to have that type of commitment, I can only imagine. How did your director feel? Because now he's having this scope, being able to shoot and be able to have the vision and having or their vision come into full progress. That's amazing. To have an actor with that kind of, dedication, they must have been on cloud nine to have that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like the scenes you just feel it in the room sometimes, when you have that kind of talent, you're just like, oh, we're crushed. This is working, the dynamic, the lines. And when you work with that caliber, you just feel so blessed to get to have them. And also, if you ever feel tired, you can't say anything because she's just crushing it. I cannot complain.
Zero excuses.
You're like, no. I'm fine.
I'm in. I'm doing whatever you need me to do.
I'm fine.
So the name of the movie is Thelma.
Thelma.
And would you like to give a little synopsis on the film, let the audience know?
Yeah, sure. So it's about a grandma who gets scammed out of some money. She ends up sending that money, and she's a very strong, independent soul.
Sure.
And she decides, I'm going to go get that money back. So she partners up with a friend played by the late Richard Roundtree. It was his final film.
Yeah.
And a beautiful performance by him. I felt very blessed to know him in that period of time. Tremendous talent and a wonderful, wonderful guy. He would come to set, and whenever something was exciting or caught him off guard, he'd go, hello. And we got that in the film at one point. But anyway, so they team up because he's got an electric scooter, and they go on this sort of geriatric Mission Impossible quest to get the money back and get the bad guys. And it's a really special, intergenerational sort of story about the grandma, the grandson, and the parents all kind of navigating how to take care of her, and just it's wonderful.
Well, couldn't be more proud. You mentioned as part of your job, one of the things you do is you want to see if a script is the right fit for you. When a script like this comes to your desk and you're reading it, how do you feel about that? Because this is it's phenomenal, really. Such a fascinating.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky, I would say, just the project comes along and you sort of know it right away. I mean, I finished reading it and I was like, yep, interested. Let's go, please. Yes, I hope it's me, who gets to do this. And I have a commercial background, so I was kind of lucky enough in 2019 to get a script that really was moving to me. And I said, gosh, I want to try features out for real.
Yeah.
And kind of cleared my calendar a little bit. But since then, I've been able to have the commercials as a backbone. And so wait for the script that's really touching, moving, that feels like it's the right fit for me. Like I said, not everything. It might be a great script that I don't feel like maybe it's right for me, timing wise or whatever. But this one had all the things that I love and a little bit of a challenge too. I always look for something a little bit new. And I was like, June Squibb as an action grandma? Are you kidding me? That's awesome. Yes, all caps. Put me in the game.
I'm in. That's it. That's it.
I'm in, and I hope it's mutual.
A dream is revenge. The writer, brilliant. They're brilliant. If you know that, the audience needs to know who wrote this fantastic.
It's Josh Margolin. And I knew too, from the moment I met him and sat down with him, the kind of care and the kind of really, it's just a beautiful script on the emotional level, but it's also hilarious. So you're kind of just laughing out loud in one scene, and then the next scene you're like, oh God, I'm not crying, you're crying. So it really threads that needle of just so much fun. And I think sometimes too with comedy, it kind of opens you up a little bit, and then the emotion comes through and there's some beautiful moments between, grandma and grandson, and also between her and Richard, just talking about, Well, they have kind of two different sides of their philosophy for being elderly. She's remained living alone after she lost her husband, and he's gone to the home. So he's kind of relying on the help, and she's fiercely independent. But you see how those philosophies kind of create some tension, and they culminate in this beautiful scene that I was just like, wow. But anyway, back to Josh. He's an incredible storyteller and was able to balance those elements.
Sure.
And then I think, the other big part of it is it's an action movie in its own way, but instead of a massive, explosion or car chase or whatever, you have Thelma trying to get across a bed. Like that, you get the nice music staying and everything feels hulled, but also in this grounded way that never takes it out of what it is. But that for her is that kind of an intense stunt. It's a monumental, could be really, she could injure herself, whatever. So it was nice to see the action kind of hang in that space of grounded, but so fun because of that too.
Oh, yeah. And the word grounded, right? Your job is a very grounded job on set, right? So you're seeing this amazing creative whirlwind going on around you, but yet you also have to keep this ship running on schedule, on time, making things go forward. You are the backbone, the engine behind this production. How do you separate yourself from seeing an amazing actress like this going through, but then at the same time, you have to say, we got to get the next shot.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. You do face times where it's tough because you're like, gosh, I just want to let this breathe.
Yeah.
This is beautiful work, and we got to just, who cares about time? Right. Producer, approved. But in general, my philosophy with scheduling is to know the story very well, to know the scenes very well with the shot list, what is expected of each scene, and also how to weight them in a schedule, because you want to get the big stuff out of the way. You want to be patient with the things that need the patience, and then maybe some smaller beats that you're like, I think we can push a little faster through those. So make sure the schedule reflects that. So if you have any snags or if it needs a little more time, you've prepared for that, and you can kind of say, well, this little thing, maybe we get it first thing tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
You don't love to push things, but sometimes it makes sense for the schedule, and you want to make sure the story is being honored and told.
Yes.
For the biggest, most important things, for performance, action, all those things.
Yeah.
You want to have time for them. So that's the way I try to accommodate that up front. And then sometimes you have hard decisions on the day, Yeah.
Now, to any young up-and-coming filmmakers, how would they pick a first AD? How would they go about this? Their first feature film, they're not really sure what they're kind of getting involved with. Say they don't have a real budget, a huge producer around them. How do they find a team like this? How do they trust a first AD? How do they find a first AD? Because pre-production, I think, is where so many independent films suffer. First-time filmmakers, they want to get the set. They just want to shoot. That's really where they want to get to. They want to just have fun.
Yeah.
What would you really give advice to say, look, how important is pre-production and prepping, and how important it is to pick a right first AD to make sure the ship goes smooth?
As a first AD, it's the most important thing you'll ever do. No, I think it's extremely important because it is the preparation. It's taken, my buddy, I like to say, it's taking the magical to the practical.
Yep.
It's the page to the screen. You have to do that work to understand everything that's required, because you're having a scene, and it's props, it's costumes, it's hair, it's makeup, it's it's lighting, it's the time of day, it's cinematography, it's the lines, it's the choreography. There's so many elements and departments that are coming together to make that scene awesome.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the preparation to get on the same page, things just suffer. I mean, I don't know, in terms of like choosing one, for me, it's a lot of it's word of mouth. I'll get reached out to, and I'll refer people if it's something that's not right for me. So I think a lot of it for me is building a network. I think there's some places to go that have forums or, ways to connect to people. But I would say it's a really, really important position and part of filmmaking that can keep it on pace, on schedule, and maybe you can, and safely. I mean, really, that's obviously we've had stuff from the news with other. Probably you want to have that safety first, and you want to go home every day knowing you crushed it and everyone's safe and healthy and happy.
What I'm hearing is the relationship building. Just like when you go to school, it's not as much as what you learn, the network that you build, the people that you'll be working with in the future.
Right? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And this one was a great one for that, because our DP, David Bolin, And Josh and I really got to go through the shot listing process together. So we were almost always in the same place. We even had access to the MPTF where we shot.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The chase scene. Yeah. So we did a previs where I pretended I was on a scooter in June. I was running through the hallways. And so we had this, iPhone recording with our shot list and then a rough edit. And we said, oh, you know what? Let's actually kill a couple of these shots because we did a quick previs. We spent an hour doing this, but it saved us talking about preparation, turning into actualization. Being able to have access to that location allowed us to trim a couple shots and have a really great idea of how the scene would just crush it in Josh's mind. Come to life perfectly. Because it was pretty complex. We did a lot of parallax. He was a lot of 360. And we also had to cheat some hallways that I don't want to see this way because she would just leave through that door. But instead we're going to shoot this way and sell it like it's a bit more of a maze.
What's fantastic is you can tell what the preparation does. So all the aspiring filmmakers, look what they're preparing right. Look where you end up. A premiere at Sundance 2024. If you do not do the right prep work, you're not going to Sundance. I mean, come on. You can't just half-ass this stuff. Let's get in there. So many filmmakers just want to shoot. And again, it is fun to get the set. But if you don't do this kind of preparation, you will not end up at a place like Sundance for the premiere of your movie.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Just keep giving Justin more work. That's what we're saying.
My contact info should be on a
little lower third will come up below. Please hire this man right here because he will get you. That's it. Not a guarantee, but it could happen. No, absolutely. Now, how does it feel, though, for yourself having a film like this premiere at Sundance? I mean, you got to feel good about yourself, being here, having fun. You have great people around you. What an experience.
Yeah, it is really just tremendous to be able to share with everybody what we did. It also just happens to be one of those films that was such a pleasure to make. So many great people from the script that attracts all those components too, which is great. You feel like if you get to do a great script, you're like, oh, other people are going to be drawn to this in the same way and are going to go that extra mile to make it. But anyway, seeing it in a theater, surrounded by people and getting to hear the laughs and the oohs and the ahs, and no one could hear me crying. So that was great. But just that experience, that shared experience of just celebrating a beautiful story that hits on so many levels. Again, where you're laughing at one point and then you're like, oh, wow, this is, it's so human and it's got depth. And it's again, very grounded. So those moments, they happen and it's not like saccharine or sappy or anything. It's just like true stuff. But it's just been such a pleasure to be here for the first time at Sundance and celebrating just the work of so many talented people coming together to make it great, to make the story great. And again, to share it with everybody on the opening night. I mean,
come on, how do you get better than that?
I don't know. Where do I go from here? I retire.
That's it. You're retired. You're done. You're always busy, always working. And if people do want to contact you, how can they find out more about you? Do you have Instagram, Facebook, a website? How can people get in contact with you? One, if they want to hire you, or two, just admire your good work?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess Instagram, I am J. Elliott Togan. I'm also on IMDb and it shows the work that I've done in the movies I've been involved with.
Tell you, what you do is fantastic. Really, first ADs are the backbone of an entire production. You guys are like the front runner holding the flag. You guys are amazing. What you guys do is fantastic. Justin, you're a fantastic lesson. Really, thank you for coming on board. I mean, you are motivational. It's great. We got to hire you one day.
It was great sound.
Thank you so much.
What you do?
Absolutely. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.